I'm really excited to just hear a video from somebody. Man Carrying Thing put out a video that's not too long. Fantasy TV is dying. I have no idea what it's going to be about other than that, hopefully. It's not like a Jack Saint apology video. You know what I mean? What could it possibly be? But I've thought myself that fantasy TV seems to be not in the best place right now. I think really maybe, and I don't know, we're going to see his predictions on it. It just seems like Game of Thrones went on fucking forever. Game of Thrones was just on TV for a billion fucking years. You know what I mean? And the last several seasons of it weren't particularly great. And a lot of the fantasy pickups after that missed one of the like kind of triumvirate of things that you need for a good fantasy show. Good effects, a good balance of like intrigue and action so that everybody can kind of get involved, and a good cast and premise, really. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see what the hell these people are up to. I like how they get up to it, and when they do get up to it, it doesn't look like shit. And it just seems like all of the sort of other entries that tried to capitalize on the Game of Thrones zeitgeist, you know what I mean? Starting in 2010 and moving on, none of them could quite knock it out of the park. And even some of the promising ones sort of fell apart, mostly because of COVID, which is now like a 5-year thing as far as its effect on the production cycle of movies goes. Because, you know, you had stuff like, and he might get into this, and I can't remember it now, Nightmare Alley or whatever the hell, the Orlando Bloom is a Fairy show. You guys remember that? That kind of went off the air. You had his subtle instruments, the Philip, whatever the fuck his name is, those kind of came out and went. The Lord of the Rings kind of completely puttered out, and the Lord of the Rings sequels weren't particularly good, even though that might not be TV necessarily. And there's just in addition to that, just a slew of, CW and other like Stars off-brand style fantasy offerings that maybe had, some fan base, but nothing could really recapture the magic, so to say, of HBO's Game of Thrones. And the early seasons of Game of Thrones, I think, were just so fucking good that they sort of raised the bar a little bit out of the reach of anybody that didn't have HBO money, HBO freedom, and HBO's reputation to kind of get such a good cast involved. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
Hi everyone. Today you're watching Man Carrying Fantasy. Psych.
Oh.
It's over. It's so over, bro. You like your little stories about kings and queens each other? Too bad. It's time to eat your government-mandated Netflix true crime slop. What happened? How did we get from this to this? Sorry, this blank screen is a visual representation of the 9th and 10th episodes of House of the Dragon Season 2. Why? Because they don't exist. Because of reasons I will get to later in this video that you're watching right now. Shows canceled, stars dropping out, mean words spoken, and viewership plummeting. I mean, it's hard to remember that it wasn't always like this. There once was a beautiful moment in television, a moment called 2015. If you're like me, you've been witness to an exciting time in the fantasy genre. They're calling it the fantasy boom. With the unexpected rise of Game of Thrones, TV networks and streamers got wise to the fact that fantasy is an awesome genre, and that it can work very well in serialized form. But with every boom comes a bust. Boom! No, I said bust. Thank you. And while I don't think we're fully at that point, we're definitely on our way. There is a culprit here, and no, it isn't that Game of Thrones shat the bed in its final season. A season so bad, even I know what happens in it. I haven't even watched the show. I just started reading the books this month because I'm addicted to showing up late to parties. The point is, it stank, and since then, streaming services have been hunting for the next big fantasy show. But not just a fantasy show, oh no. And here's the first part of the problem. Game of Thrones raised the bar a little too high, not in terms
I didn't pre-watch. He watched my stream, then went back in time and made this video.
of quality, but success. Network executives, instead of looking for a sustainable, long-term solution, wanted the white whale, the next Game of Thrones. We had some early contenders. I'd say roughly 4, but not all of them could be the chosen one. Let's go through
I forgot about the Robert Jordan one, too. Then they made the Rings of Power. They made that, and that fucking didn't work. Carnival Row. That's what the name of the thing I was thinking of. What did I say? Nightmare Alley? Carnival Row. I don't know if actually somebody responded to that. It doesn't look like it. No, Carnival Row is the Carnival Row is the Orlando Bloom thing. Let's see how many I named.
Them right now on Who Wants to Be the Next Game of Thrones? Contestant number 1. In my mind, Wheel of Time was the fantasy fans adaptation. Beloved source material, long neglected, getting the high budget Amazon treatment with a genuine movie star. There's a million books and it is finished. Part Lord of the Rings, part Dune, and entirely insane. Kind of a logical choice for an unmined IP. Contestant number 2. The Witcher had the star appeal and the Netflix branding and also went for Game of Thrones.
The Witcher, dude. I didn't even mention that one. Such a disappointment.
This dark tone and already had a successful video game adaptation. I always had a sense that this had the most going for it. Contestant number 3, Amazon's massive gamble. After purchasing the rights to The Lord of the Rings for something like $100 billion trillion, Jeff Bezos was challenging the gods with a show almost too big to fail. It had to work, right? I mean, it cost the most, but there were promising signs too, like unknown showrunners who were reportedly Tolkien obsessive. To me, this was the riskiest, but it had the most potential. Contestant number 4. Finally, HBO's answer to the vacuum they created. They had a million George R.R. Martin stories in the works, but this took precedent. This was another gamble in a way, betting millions of dollars that there was still goodwill toward this IP. That's the question, huh? So there they are, the 4 contestants. Let's see who the winner is! The next Game of Thrones is... I'm drawing this out so much because you know the answer. Everyone knows the answer. It was Rings of Power! Just kidding. It was none of them. So no fantasy show has reached the critical and popular heights of Game of Thrones, but has any show really? I mean, that's the thing, not to sound like Debbie Downer, but in the year 2024, it's starting to feel like that era of TV is gone forever. Part 2. To understand the broader death of fantasy TV, let's look back at our contestants and see how they fared. Wheel of Time wasn't the worst case scenario. Some people really love it, and it certainly got better in the second season. I have my own opinions if you...
All these shows are good? I don't think so. I'd say all of them are at least okay. Witcher Season 1 was pretty good when it was Geralt. They did fuck up with the side cast, with some nobodies and some not really delivering bodies. Hiring the one lady to be Yennefer still just doesn't make sense to me at all, because Yennefer is such a kind of like visually specific person. You know what I mean? And I don't give a fuck that she's like not white or anything. But I just feel like she's supposed to be weird, hot. You know what I mean? Let me explain this better. You know how elves, like you have to cast somebody like Orlando Bloom or Viggo Mortensen? Not Viggo Mortensen. Well, he's a good one for other ones too. But the guy that plays... Agent fucking what's his name in the Matrix, they have like really like high cheekbones and like narrow fucking heads, and they can kind of look like, they got a bit of an ALMAO to them. They're a little alien fucking skulled. And I feel like a Yennefer is supposed to be this like hyper hot type of person, like really just arresting looking. And because she's cheating, first off, like Yennefer isn't actually a human being. She's a witch that is literally using a glamour to make herself supernaturally fucking hot and smell like gooseberries and shit all the fucking time, right? And the girl that they picked for it just doesn't quite get it, right? She also seemed a little young. I know that sounds crazy, but like, because she's younger in it. But it seemed like she was maybe a little too young for the what's his name that played Geralt. But like the Dandelion guy, Javier or whatever, slapped. Very good, very very good. I feel like the Triss was negligible, and then there was a lot of good and a lot of mid casting, particularly with the witches. Actually, it was kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? I think Ciri was okay when we had Cirilla around. But like that's kind of my general impression of it, is the casting was wonk. Was wonk as fuck. I'm not gonna say 100% that it was woke. I feel like it was just bad though. Like it was like not really understanding the source material and like what you're trying to accomplish with those characters. Because The Witcher is a down and dirty, gritty, low fantasy. But the point of The Witcher is that it's low fantasy retellings of literal fucking Mother Goose fairy tales and shit. Like, that's the point. So, like, when you have, like, a Red Riding Hood, she should be very Red Riding Hood-y, all right? Even when she's not leading a band of dwarves, but, like, a band of misfit, short, murderous, sociopathic fucking psychos that kill at her whim, and you do the Butcher of Blaviken shit. I just don't think it worked, right? And I don't know if necessarily like, oh, it had to be like an absolutely like just Polish as fuck white chick with like pure white skin and all that stuff. But like definitely the purple eyes, the dark hair, buxom. Like she has to be basically an ugly girl's version of what every beautiful thing that she's missing is. Because like the actual Yennefer without the glamour on, she's like a little crooked backed like Uggo, right? So she's always got her glamour on. Like that's the point. So she's supposed to be like preternaturally, supernaturally hot, like literally using witchcraft to be hot. And I just don't think like you kind of like understood that about the setting, and it kind of took away from her as a character too, because like the transformation didn't quite fucking crack, and then she also just seemed a little bit too young. And Yennefer, like I'm harping on Yennefer, but Yennefer needs to be perfect because it's fucking Yennefer of Vengerberg. You don't get to have Witcher without Yennefer of Vengerberg. All right, she's the one girl in the slurry of other girls. All right, you have like who the fuck ever. 10 million tavern wenches, random elf hoes, a few other witches, Triss, and then Yennefer. You know what I mean? And so like it has to really be that fucking character. And they're getting fucking kind of fucked over because the Witcher video game is one of the most popular video games of all time. So whenever I think of Yennefer, I think of the Yennefer from the fucking video game. Like, and the Geralt from the video game, which they did a very good job of replicating in Dude. Like a once in a lifetime, high level, perfect fucking casting in Geralt. Perfect. Literally no fucking notes. And then for the rest of it, it just sort of fell apart. It just wasn't there, you know? And also the ball sack armor. Yeah, why can I remember the white flame who dances on the graves of his enemies, and I can't remember the name of his fucking country? But yeah, the ball sack armor that they had for the for that one, God damn it, Cirilla's dad's country, literally just fucking escapes my mind. All women should have purple eyes, but that's besides the point. Yeah. Horny on main. But yeah, that armor was kind of weak. There was a lot of plotting moments. I feel like they tried to expand they kind of did try to over expand Yennefer's point too, because she's very important. But like Yennefer's important when Yennefer's doing Yennefer shit. It is The Witcher, so it's about The Witcher. So you kind of don't need to add too much Ciri and Yennefer shit. And honestly, having them sort of bomb in and out of his life is the point of it. Like, that's kind of the deal. Is like Geralt is a Rolling Stone deadbeat dad, sort of, you know, a fucking a Monday through a Monday Tuesday lover. Like he shows up and then everyone's like, our lives have moved on without you, and he's like, I'm sorry, but like I need you to do some shit for me, you know. Like he comes in and out of other people's lives, and they come in and out of his, and it's like, I haven't seen you for a while. And they're like, yeah, because you never fucking call. So, like, having the other people... Dude, my dog just fucking ripped ass in here and fucking left. It knocked me out. Dude, it's horrible. My dog just farted in his fucking room and just killed the fucking air. Jesus Christ. Having the other people kind of like have like extra time and like spending a lot of time on the witches and stuff, you know, and like their whole thing, it did seem a little stretched out. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of extra there. A lot of extra. I don't know. Nilfgaard, thank you. Jesus fucking Christ.
You've got an hour to spare. The problem with dissecting a TV show over something like a novel is that so many external factors go into the success or failure of a project. Was it clumsy writing and a rushed pace, or did Amazon simply demand fewer episodes and crunch the budget? People underestimate how many useless executives just stand around and make dumb decisions all day. Yeah, Wheel of Time feels rushed, it looks like a CW show, and huge mistakes were made, but it generally captures the feel of the books. Generally. Then why didn't it reach that?
Yeah, I want to talk about that for a second again. The Rings of Power is, or fucking, I keep saying that, the Wheel of Time. Wheels and rings and rings and wheels. The Wheel of Time really suffered from god fucking awful cinematography, is what that is. Because that's sort of like a hallmark. The CW shows shoot on the cheap as fast as they can. I think they're usually on sound stages and stuff too. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it. But like Supernatural looks pretty fucking good. It's a CW show, especially in the early seasons. Supernatural had really good cinematography. It does not take a lot to get good cinematography. It's literally just about shot selection, camera placement, and depth of field and light. And that's all you need. A lot of your bad looking and cheap looking shit comes from people trying to do too many natural shots and do stuff outside with undirected lighting, which was a massive issue with Wheel of Time because they're constantly outside, but they have undirected lighting. If you remember like Lord of the Rings, if they had like a middle of the day shot, you'd be like swooping around because you remain in the fantasy world because like New Zealand looks crazy. And if you're an American, you've never seen New Zealand before, more than likely in 2001. But when they're in the woods and stuff, it's always very directed, very focused and purposeful lighting. Like I'm not going to bring a bunch of it up, but if you just think and look up these scenes yourself of like Frodo in the mud and trying to creep away from the fucking Nazgul and stuff, or even when he's just meeting up with Gandalf, there's a color and a depth and a weight and a volume to the light. All of that's very easy to achieve if you have skilled cinematographers on set, right? And you kind of give them the run. You don't have to spend a shitload of money. The light's free, okay? It costs next to nothing. It's all reflectors and stuff. It's part of the budget. It's going to be one of the cheaper parts, but it's also one of the things that gets skipped over because setting the lights the fuck up can be very difficult. That's usually what most of the day is on a lot of these kind of shows. But if you do good planning and you have good directing, you can plan all that shit out so that you know, like, okay, we're going to make sure we're getting on this top. We're on the top of this hill at fucking 5 a.m. We have from 5 a.m. until about 7:25 a.m. to try to set up, get those golden light shots. That's going to be him standing at the top of the circle, and then we are going to immediately walk down. You guys are going to be going to set, or you guys are going to be going to fucking costumes. You guys are going to be going to hair and makeup. You guys are going to be doing this, and we're going to move from the wake up scene, that's scene 1, fucking 3, down to scene 15, 22, 9. Make sure that you do all this stuff. You guys are going to be having your battle makeup on. We need that ready. We're going to be trying to get that during the middle of the day and catch all of these lights, and then blah, 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 blah. You go all the way to the end of the day. So these long shoots and shit are for. If you're working with like inexpert people and stuff, and this even isn't like news journalism and shit, you don't use the time of day to your best bet, which you have to do. You have to understand where the fucking sun is going to be during the daytime. Otherwise you have to wheel fucking $750,000 fucking sun, what do you call it, fake suns, basically. This gigantic massive hyper big light bank. With if you're good and you're smart and you fucking plan ahead, just knowing where the stuff is going to be and planning your angles, having your cinematographer go like, all right, we want this shot. This is what you look. What we figured out is that we can put you right here. We're going to have this light coming in here. The sun is right around here this time of year. It's going to penetrate through these. I think we have like a no overcast. If we have any fucking extra thing, we got like some shit right here. We're going to try to get some extra light on that chest plate to make it shine. I got a snoot on this fucking thing and blah, 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 blah. We got some fucking box lights. Got a reflector. We got all this. So you see like one guy. So for one dude going like, creeping up, you got all these fucking things around him, and you have to just plan all of that out. For the cheaper people that run and shoot on the fly, it's basically, look, we're going to shoot episode 2 today. All of the scenes, we got these guys for a day. We're going to shoot episode 2 all day today. And we're just going to shoot it in order, which is kind of what Rings of Power feels like. It's like, okay, we got all of these guys on set. We're going to just do this fucking episode all goddamn day. All day, we're just going to do season 2, episode 2. Just straight start to finish. Like literally, you guys are going to get up. We're going to do scene 1. End of the day, we're going to do scene 82. And we're fucking finished. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the vibe I got from Rings of Power. The very first episode is pretty good. If I remember correctly, it's pretty solid, especially cinematography-wise. I think they did the most work on that one. And then, yeah, the ones where they're in the woods with the Aes Sedai or whatever the fuck, and being taken back to that town, that shit looks like fucking bug-ass. And it's the one he brought up. I just wanted to bring that up. That's kind of like why stuff can look like that. And that was also something that seemed to start affecting Game of Thrones toward the end. If you don't give a fuck, your shit will start looking like that instantly. Once you start seeing reverse shot camera angles, particularly in a fucking fantasy show, everything's going to fall apart. Reverse shot's the easiest thing in the world. You have two people have a conversation, you have two cameras going, and you run both cameras at the same time, okay? And their conversation, literally you go boop, 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 and go up and down for whatever one on two different tracks, and then that's Bob's your uncle. It's finished. There's a lot of different ways to do reverse shot. It's basic as fuck, and it can be complicated. But like, if you only do reverse shot, you don't get the most out of characters' bodies. And in a fantasy show where people are wearing, $50,000 worth of costume armor and hand knitted fucking this and that, but also might be wearing the world's shittiest wig, actually having you a little bit further out where the fucking SFX guys can have less to overall have to do anyway when they try to clean shit up, can go pretty fucking far. It also doesn't seem like, if I remember correctly, I was thinking about this. This is why I want to talk about it. Wheel of Time, I might have said Rings of Power a million times. I meant Wheel of Time this entire time. I haven't talked about Rings of Power at all in my mind. Wheel of Time seemed like they didn't do a lot of color grading after the fact. It seemed a little washed out here and there. Like there wasn't a lot of post contrast and color added. To the point where when they're in the demon town, you can kind of tell like, oh God, you guys are actually shooting inside now on directed light. I can fucking completely different show.
That level of Game of Thrones. In Zach Baron's GQ article on the making of the show, he writes, for the first season of Thrones, HBO spent about $6 million an episode, a number that steadily climbed from there. Amazon and the Wheel of Time, they're starting at upward of a reported $10 million per episode. Simply put, expectations for fantasy have changed. This isn't the days of Merlin anymore. The budget is going to affect.
My brother-in-law is a DP and he's constantly paying attention to all kinds of lighting conditions and shit that I never even think about. I'm a freak with light. If you read my books and stuff, I'm just always, I catch myself and I'm like, I gotta fucking start describing stuff a little bit more calm. I gotta get off. But that's what I think about, because that's what I see when I go into rooms and shit. Because I was working as a photographer, and I was working as a fucking news photographer, which is the hardest kind of fucking photographer to be, because you get no leeway. You one shot half the time. You know what I mean? If that. Like, people don't have time for you. People aren't going to repeat an extremely newsworthy event and stuff. So even for the few years I was doing it, like 5 years or so, 6, I guess, I was always on it. And every other guy or every other person I know that works in news photography that's any fucking good is too, because you're just like, okay, what do we got here? Where's the natural light coming in? What are the angles? And, I'm not going to be able to ask the mayor of the city to turn around, you know what I mean, while he's giving this fucking speech. So I'm going to need to get all the way over here, because all of the light that's in this fucking building is coming over from here, and they're not going to give me a flash, and I don't get to use a reflector. So like the only shot is going to be this shot. Boom, click, got it. Boom, go ahead, move, leave. You're gone. It's that fast. So you just have to like hyper think about it. And if you don't think that like transfers to filmmaking, one of the best guys, a lot of the best guys to ever do it started in actual news photography. But what's his name? The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, How I Learned to Stop Loving, or Dr. Strangelove. That director name immediately escapes me. It's just brain damage issues. Started as a combat photojournalist.
Actors' locations, each episode needs to feel like a movie. As a result, we get shorter and shorter seasons. These are hefty books, and to put even one of these things into 8 episodes is pushing it. The result is a rushed pace, convoluted plotting, and characters we don't have time to care about. Do you guys really think they'd give 14 seasons to cover this 14-book series? I'd be surprised if we got anything past 3. The Witcher is a show I honestly never cared about. I mean, I'm happy it has fans, but it seemed like from the start it was a mixed bag. Fans of the book were angry over choices in the adaptation, and it sounds like the angry fans included the star of the show, Henry Cavill himself, who exited the series under mysterious circumstances to be replaced by Liam Hemsworth for the 3rd and 4th season. It seems like the star power wasn't enough to keep this show popular. I think it had good numbers for sure, but it wasn't water cooler TV. Which brings us to Rings of Power's lackluster.
Kubrick, yes, thank you.
Everything. Only about half as many US households watched the season 2 premiere as did the series opener over their first 3 days of release. The first season cost $715 million, and even though the second season is doing well by Amazon standards, it isn't capturing viewers' attention. Only 37% of viewers in the US watched season 1 to completion. The fact that they're losing viewers in season 2 is a bad sign. I could talk a lot about why the show doesn't work, but mainly I want to ask, Who is this for? Tolkien fans are horrified by the huge lore changes, and casual fans are bored to death by the almost Wikipedia-style storytelling. Amazon can only adapt stuff in The Lord of the Rings, but everything in this show is told in more depth in The Silmarillion, a property they don't even know. Also, Amazon put all their faith into virtually untested showrunners, who themselves admit that making the show was a massive learning experience. At one point, the showrunners asked mentor and former boss J.J. Abrams to call Amazon to put in a good word, which kind of makes sense. The show suffers incredibly from a storytelling tactic called the mystery box, which has been championed by J.J. Abrams over the years. Basically, you give the
I'll let him explain.
Audience a mystery to be answered, even if it's something simple, and you run with it. Doesn't even matter what the mystery is. Rings of Power has quite a few. Mainly, is that Sauron? Is that Sauron? Is that Sauron? Is that Sauron? You get the point. If you want an extensive breakdown and a great video about this show, Hello Future Me has the king of them all. Let's bring it all back home to HBO, or I guess Mac.
I got new people that are maybe or maybe not interested in fucking writing stuff. The J.J. Abrams School of Writing is the worst school of writing in TV, television, and stuff I know about it. It's horrible. It is the worst way to write anything. J.J. Abrams is a fucking hack. He's just lucky as shit, man. He just was born into the industry, and he got out easy. What the mystery box is Ponzi scheme writing. Okay, I'll say this a million times. Ponzi scheme writing. How a Ponzi scheme works is you tell somebody like, hey man, I've got a good investment lined up for you, right? Okay, cool. What is it? You know, like, oh, you just give it to me. I got this thing set up. You give me $1,000, right? And I'll give you a fucking return like 10 or 15% immediately. And so they go, okay, cool, right? Fuck yeah, dude. You can give me that. And so you just take their $1,000, give them $100 of it back, and then you've got the just gigantic return, instantaneous return, right? Right off the rip. Like, oh, fuck, dude, this guy's got it figured the fuck out. But you actually can't return the full investment. It's just that little bit. The way that you move you move deeper into the scam, because you'll never be able to pay this guy back other than just giving him his money and a little bit of yours to actually achieve the goal, is you get him to bring in another person and say, hey man, like, just tell some of your friends I'm looking for some other investors to get involved in this. And you add the next chunk of the scheme. So another person comes and they give you $2,000 and you give them back $50 or $100 like right away. And then you just take the rest of the money. Maybe you even give some to the other guy. So what you're doing is you're constantly taking in money and giving back a little bit to these people. They think they have a long-term investment that they're going to get a return on, but that's never going to happen because there is just no fucking investment. So what you do in Ponzi scheme writing is you introduce a plot point, right? Or a plot mystery. This is the potential MacGuffin. This is the secret. This is the thing that you're going to figure out. You never answer that question because you're an untalented hack fuck writer like J.J. Abrams. You're just not good at writing. You're terrible. Look at Lost, where all of the revelations are fucking stupid and then the fucking end is like, this is dumb. What the fuck? Nothing paid off. Yeah, because he's a fucking Ponzi scheme writer. Instead of answering the difficulty of writing is justifying your plot decisions, right? Making sure there's no plot hole, that A leads to B to C to D, and that in the intermediary area between that, there's a functional connectivity, right? And the more extreme the final revelation is, the more extreme the stairs leading up to it have to be. If you're like, one of these 4 people killed this woman, and they're all the most like, oh my God, I can't believe anyone would kill this woman, much less these 3 people that are like her best friends and all seem to be the nicest people I've ever seen. You're going to have to deliver on one of these 3 people murdered this woman. If you're a good writer, you do it. You Agatha Christie that bitch, and you go, oh my fucking God, what a delivery. If you're a hack fuck like J.J. Abrams, who I hate with every fucking fiber of my being, what you do instead is, oh my God, another thing. Oh, who has just arrived? We're about to try to figure this out, but John is here from out in the country? Do you guys remember John? He was supposed to be dead, but he's not. Oh my God, but like, if John's not dead, then how did this letter I received 2 days ago from John, well after we're kind of coming to the conclusion we're not going to solve which of these 3 ladies murdered this old woman, John is here, and John has a new thing. Oh my God, that's crazy. Go into the next season. The next season starts, we're so concerned about John. How could John be alive? But what about the 3 ladies and the guys? Well, we're going to get to that, but first we need to know what's going on. There's a ticking clock. Something is counting down. Notice that every time you have a J.J. Abrams plot, ever, He's going to introduce one thing and then never really there's going to be almost next to no delivery on that. He'll introduce a second or a third thing that's going to have a ticking clock on it. Why? Because it's going to give you an imperative that, oh shit, don't worry about that thing that was like actually the entire purpose that we're here. Worry about this ticking clock moment. This ticking clock, something is counting up or down. There's a timer on this, so we need to focus on that. So you start the second season. Oh, what? Well, we need to worry about this John thing. The guy that's with us, there's something about he has to leave, and we have to like figure out stuff about him. And then he's getting ready to go, and you're like, oh, okay. There's the end of the second season is focused all on this, and then you get to the end of the third season, you go, oh my god, boom, and there's a desk. There's going to be some innocuous object that's been there the whole time. They're going to move it or open it, and it's going to have another thing inside it that it shouldn't have. What the fuck? I lifted the top of the desk that everyone sits at, and underneath it is a safe. Oh my god, what's in this safe? And the safe has there's a piece of paper on this safe. This is incredible. This could be the answer to everything. Could it be the answer to the three ladies that we were talking about at the very beginning? Is it why John isn't dead even though he's supposed to? Find out in season 3. We get into season 3 and the entire thing is about we need to get inside this safe because John is now revealing the real reason I came back and the reason I'm not dead has to do with the contents of that safe. Well, what is it? Can you tell us? I can't say because I can't, because if I do, things will happen. Oh my god, okay, so we're trying to get into this safe. What's going on? Oh, we could have asked the old lady, I guess, but she's dead. Who killed her? One of these 3 ladies. Now that we're 3 seasons into this, one of them has slowly but surely been written to look like a fucking psycho. But you don't remember that because that happened in season 1 where they were all normal as shit. And now she's like a fucking psycho. Maybe she's just been replaced. I don't know. It's a J.J. Abrams show, so maybe this actor has just been completely fucking replaced. And they had the key to the safe all along. And now, actually, what has been happening is they've been moving things in and out of it, and you see them open it, blah, 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 blah. Oh, but there's a light in there. And then now they're going in, and they catch him. Oh, my God. Oh, whoa. We go in. Blah, 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 blah. John is dead again. Fucking why? Well, now we'll never know why he came back, but he was also dead before, so shit, he's been murdered. And the safe is open, and the light that's been coming out of it is gone. Season 4 is the only place where we'll be able to explain this. We still don't know why this fucking lady died at the beginning. But in season 4, halfway through it, we'll just say, oh, because she knew about the light in the safe. Whatever. Stupid bitch had to fucking go. Okay, but why is that guy dead? We'll never know because he died before he could tell us. But did you know that that light is like another light that's shining? It just looks like a weird thing that fans noticed online because it wasn't actually anything. We just happened to have a gel light that shone in the side of a scene like 2 or 3 times because fucking Phil, the grip, is fucking incompetent and didn't double check that, and neither did the cinematographer. But that thing the fan noticed, we're gonna pan the camera. Oh my god, there's a glowing green ball there. It's been there the whole time. It's like we've always been watched. What in the fuck? It's just like the other light that came out of the safe. What is going on? And then you just keep adding that again and again and again and again. I probably got like half of you guys fucking hooked to this. It's bad writing. It's just trash can because you can never get to the end where you actually explain all the things. You have to have everyone be secretly dead and go to the dead church and say like, hey, you remember that fucking black thing that was a black shadow? What? Yeah. And the guy that got sucked into the engine or whatever. What? Really? Did that happen? Like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. There's a lighthouse. I don't know, fucking guy. Remember? There's a submarine. I don't know. Yeah. This fucking island is full of new plot details, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. That guy's not dead, by the way. John comes back in season 6 because he was in the real John. The dead speak, quite literally. If you ain't bringing people back from the dead, like the hack fuck you are, randomly because it's convenient to the plot, then you are not J.J. fucking Abrams. And I hate his entire... I hate his entire fucking subsection of storytelling. It's horrible. It's that easy to do. Just literally make up another thing instead of answering the first plot question and just give yourself enough time for people to forget that it mattered. And that's it.
now, even though I never watched Game of Thrones, I've become a huge fan of House of the Dragon. The first season was beautiful and tragic, and Paddy Considine gave the performance of a lifetime. It seemed like it was pretty popular, but then season 2 arrived and the cracks started to show. Slow, but
yeah, what happened to Star Wars? J.J. Abrams. That's it. Just J.J. Abrams. Literally fucking true. J.J. Abrams can't fucking finish a trilogy. He did the same thing to Star Trek, just less people care about Star Trek. And I think the people that took over after him did a good job of just like push it away. But yeah, that first fucking episode of the new Star Trek, literally it Skinner boxed, or it Ponzi scheme writing people right off rip. Like, oh, is the black dude gonna be a fucking Jedi? What's this chick? Is she like Skywalker's kid? And like, it just raised a bunch of fucking goofy ass questions. And then you see him, they're like, well, we're gonna bring him back to finish it. And then you get to see the truth of what I tell you. They hated me for I told the truth. J.J. Abrams, at the end, when he actually has to write a fucking conclusion to shit, complete fucking garbage. Literally, he just does his same thing where he introduces new plot points and then just solves them instead of trying to Ponzi scheme them away. And you're like, well, this is fucking stupid as shit. Yeah, it was. It was the whole time. Because he just introduces new plot points that he will never fucking deliver on. Ever. If you watch something that says written, co-written, produced by J.J. Abrams, it's going to be a blue balls of fiction, right? If there's any exceptions to that rule, they are literally the exceptions.
Steady pace has become glacial. Repetitive scenes, plot conveniences, and a lack of forward momentum made for a season that felt like filler. Yeah, there were great moments, but by the end it felt like nothing had meaningfully changed. On top of that, George R.R. Martin disavowed the direction of the show on a now deleted blog post. So what's going on? Did the writers just suddenly lose their talent? Or did the corporate people do something? Yeah, it was the corporate people. Warner Brothers Discovery, under the reign of David Zaslav, is suffering tremendously and is forced to slash budgets left and right. It's hard, everyone's suffering, except David Zaslav himself, who made $49 million last year. Because of budget cuts and the actors and writers strikes, the show was forced to cut the last 2 episodes, which would have included very climactic battles. This is why the season feels just kind of unfinished. But don't worry, we'll get to see the rest of it very soon in 2026. Let's stop for a second and make some conclusions. These 4 shows have been interesting case studies to see how an industry attempts to recreate an anomaly. First, you get a well-known IP. Then, you throw money at it. The end. The decline of high-budget adult fantasy TV isn't just because of the fantasy genre, it's because of TV itself. The streaming service model, which revolutionized the industry, is now killing it. Here's the secret. Streaming was never profitable. It was propped up by novelty, by big tech's willingness to destroy yet another industry with a promise of something better, only to give you a worse version of what you already had. It's like Uber and rideshare apps. What if we made taxis, but it's just random independent contractors using their own vehicles making next to nothing? Uber lost money in order to destroy an existing business model. Similarly, streaming destroyed a profitable business
fucking comrade man carrying thing out here. I don't know who this guy is, but he's fucking spitting.
This model in order to make a worse product. How many 22-episode series do you see anymore? I mean, I could go on forever about this. I made a video going deeper into this topic already. I'll just say that fantasy is in the crosshairs in this new era. Let's call this era the reality check era. In the reality check, streamers are raising prices, increasing ads, and focusing on cheap-to-produce content, such as reality TV. Basically, it's becoming network TV again. And fantasy never really thrived in that landscape. Fantasy, as we've come to expect it, is expensive as shit to produce. If you want movie-quality dragons, don't expect much more than 6 or 8 episodes. And if these fantasy shows aren't bringing prestige or huge viewerships, then like, what's the point from a business perspective? You're already seeing this attitude shift. HBO forcing their flagship series to cut 2 episodes because of budget is crazy. Similarly, The Witcher's ending after its 4th season, if not sooner. In the near future, only proven IPs will be gracing the small screen, no matter how needless and unwanted. There's no longer the same money or energy to create game-changing fantasy. When Game of Thrones came out, it was different and fresh.
You're gonna be on that new fucking Harry Potter. You gotta sign a fucking, I'm never gonna be mean to Joanne. I will never be mean to Joanne.
Just like many of the shows of that golden era. The business is going back to normal, and fantasy was never really welcome in that time. So what do we do now? I love fantasy as a genre, and I think TV is a perfect way to adapt fantasy novels, which are often long as hell. Perhaps we find a way to make fantasy cheap to make. Even though animation isn't particularly cheap, it's cheaper than any of these shows, and it seems like an obvious
God damn, he's saying all the fucking things I would say.
If my beloved Stormlight Archive got adapted as an animated series, I would be happy. Moral of the story. Fantasy, it's not your fault. I love you, fantasy. And if you aren't destined to stay on the small screen, at least we'll see you on the big one, probably. And in books, of course.
Stormlight's, okay. Stormlight's good. Good. Stormlight is better when you've never read any other Brando Sando. I'm going to say that. I'll tell you this. I put out that Mistborn is dull, and I never heard another kind word from Man Carrying Thing. Man carrying thing was on 6 alt accounts telling me to go fuck myself. No, the point I wanted to make is that there is such a fucking wide open. There is a wide open market for animation in America. There is, because fucking Japanese companies are making their nut with translated shit, and they don't give a fuck about us. Japan doesn't give a fuck about America as a market and still makes fucking tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. I have no fucking idea. A fucking massive amount of money. Crunchyroll does not air any American content, as far as I know. Maybe like 1 or 2 Crunchyroll original shows that suck ass. But like, the fucking motherfuckers in Japan are just cranking this shit out, which means there's a fucking market for market for animation. It's just that we don't have animators in America working on that kind of shit for whatever reason. Like, cartoons in America are slapstick comedy cartoons for children and fucking slapstick comedy cartoons for adults. And then occasionally you get something like Spawn for HBO, which people talk about to this day as one of the greatest things ever. And then those just get canceled like instantaneously, basically because SpongeBob ruined the world by being a cartoon that demands every other cartoon make fucking $20 million per episode of a return and be permanently fucking, what do you call that? Just permanently on TV. The thing that happens when you hit 100 episodes. The Trevorrow script, the one with 1,000 Snokes and the C-3PO central plot. I fucking wish that would fucking pop. Castlevania popped off, and that's not even American. That was Western at least. Animation is critically underutilized when it comes to every genre other than comedy in the West. And like that's the crazy part is I don't know why people imagine, like, I need to see the numbers where like animation's not doing fucking gangbusters. The thing is like there's too many they try to do comedy. It always has to be fucking funny. You know what I mean? It can't be a serious cut 'em up, because for some reason I guess we still have to, like, if anime is only to sell toys to children, like, adults are buying fucking toys like crazy. All right, just get one fucking big titty chick with an upskirt shot and you'll sell 5 million tons of vinyl. Okay, 5 million tons of vinyl. Just have one girl with a decently fucking designed character spit on a dude's face, okay, in your cartoon, and you'll sell toys. All right, they're not going to be running through they're not going to be at Toys R Us, but Toys R Us is dead, okay? You're not going to be fucking selling it to the Disney store, but I'm just telling you right now, you can move vinyl. You can move Funko Pops. You can move plastic off adult cartoons, or at least just even like Shonen Sign and stuff. It's just not going to go to the fucking 8 to 12 demographic, okay? It's going to go to the sad to forever alone demographic. I think they canceled the new norm. Oh, fuck, no. 1 billion stream day one. Dude, I'm telling you, this is my bet. I don't have enough money, but here's my bet. If you're a fucking Hollywood exec, happen to be fucking popping through here, somebody send this to Hollywood, okay? Clip it and send it to Hollywood. Let me tell you, fuck all of the things that you think you know about animation or even marketing, because you're stupid. You're not as smart as me. What you need to do is you need to put out a fucking just hand-drawn animation at fucking 15 frames per second. It can look almost like shit as long as the character models look nice. And you're going to title it Conquering the Dungeon So That the Princess Will Spit in My Face. Yeah, that's the most unwieldy title you've ever heard of. It doesn't matter. Literally, conquering the dungeon so the elf princess will spit in my face. You are going to make $1 billion. You're going to put out, it's going to look like shit. People are going to say all the same things that they're going to say to you about the thing you're trying to make, okay? I don't know, like just get one fucking famous guy in there. I'm pretty sure Philip DeFranco. Yeah, fucking Philip DeFranco is the main character. Why not? Get good Markiplier in there. That property will make $4 billion. Okay, it will like you're like, what in the fuck is going on? Okay, is it gonna get you new streaming subscribers? I don't know, but all you need to do is sell that. Okay, and then day 4, have 1,000 vinyl figurines of the elf queen princess whatever that spits in people's faces ready for sale. Half of them you don't even have to fucking paint. I'm telling you, you don't even have to fucking paint half of them. Obviously, you're going to wake up 3 months after that shit comes out, and you're not going to be able to move because of all of the money that they're dumping in the fucking windows of your house. Okay? If I could do this, I would. I would make this shitty... You guys want to know? Can I pitch you guys? I was giggling to myself. I'm going to pitch you guys a fucking anime. It's going to fuck you up, too. Because I was giggling to myself driving in the car, actually, because we had a long drive home from our vacation. It was fucking like, through the hills and stuff. And I was thinking of, how much fucking crack could I put into one anime? Like, and just make it the most, like, I fucking can't put this down. And the anime was, in my mind, okay, only I can control Rini-chan. First off, that title alone is getting the gooners in. Only I can control Rini-chan, okay? Here's the anime pitch. The pitch is, it's a full dive, a full dive combat simulator, right? Where it's kind of like Pokemon, but you have like Guilty Gear-esque fighters, okay? And they have a bunch of different setups, right? It's tanky builds or speed builds, whatever the fuck. You can have all of that shit. And the nerd kid, okay, he's gonna have wide eye and he's gonna have blue hair down. If you know. He wants to do fighting games, but he can't figure it out. And he goes and plays with his friend and is like, oh, blah 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 blah, and he's like, not cool. And they're like, who are you gonna pick? If you have to pick one character, you can only afford so many because you have to pay to download them. And there's like 200 to choose. And he's like, well, I guess I'll get this one because it's really cheap. And they're like, don't get that one. That's Rini-chan. No one wants to play as Rini-chan. And he downloads Rini-chan, and only he can make Rini-chan move the right way. Full trash, okay? Embarrassing. You can have whole scenes. There's a whole fucking subsection where it's like, you unlocked some skins, and he's got to like go fucking digital shopping with his full dive fighting game character, because only he's the one that can like he can do the trick. Like, she only works if you can pull off this one like depress time fucking counter move, and then like she's mad good because she's a counter striker player in a game where counter strikers don't do good. And you're like, oh fuck, you wanted some championships and some tourneys. Now you got to take your little digital girlfriend shopping, okay? And then you got to do a little shopping episode, like, oh, I'm gonna download the bikini, and she's like, I don't want to do that. Blah 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 blah. Buying movesets and stuff. I think that shit, I was cackling laughing in my fucking head about how stupid that could get. Eventually he finds a tsundere chick who's big on the fighting scene, right? And she's been gone for a while because she took a massive L because she was fighting his fucking, I don't know, Diablo Mastodon or some shit. You got to have the most Japanese fucking English names ever. She was a Diablo Mastodon character player for a long time, and then she's coming back, and then you find out, oh fuck, she's got a high level, like, legendary skin Rini. She's been playing as also Rini-chan, mad good, and it's got like a hood with a fucking dark thing. And then you gotta fight Rini-chan against Rini-chan, and the fucking tsundere chick kind of likes you, and the other Rini-chan doesn't like you. And it would just get in people's fucking brains. I think that shit would be crack fucking cocaine for the kind of, not like good. Don't worry about good. No. I was never talking about good. Okay. Wholesome, healthy for your mind. No. But the kind of people that are going to start spending fucking money on shit. Dude, I think that game specifically min-maxes the marketability of an IP to unfathomable fucking heights. Unfathomable fucking heights.
Of course. But books are not.
And then there's a beach episode. Oh, absolutely.
Visual medium. What is a visual medium? Photography. And what is my new favorite hobby? Photography. Even though I'm only a novice at photography, and I'm still the master of Transitions. In outdoor photography, see, shoot, and share the beauty around you by Min T, I've been exploring photography through a lens I've never seen through. Enjoying the wordplay? And it's only one of a number of great classes I've been exploring on Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. Skillshare offers learning paths, which are curated sequential class collections for mastering a specific skill. There's so many fun avenues to take. There's categories in film, illustration, animation. I've been having a fun time.
I beat the dungeon, but the princess won't step on me. Award sweep, yeah. Dude, just the amount of single tickets purchased to go watch that film. On opening day, you can just watch the little, like when you see the little fucking outlay, like the where the seats are, every seat just starts appearing as being purchased one away from the next closest seat. And then just hesitant, like all the world holds its weight hovering over the ground. Until someone finally selects a seat that's between two of the other forever alone fucking meme guys that are sitting in the theater. And then they all fucking color in.
Just re-exploring my old
Why are we
hobbies like
watching this
photography
ad?
and learning a bit more and just having fun going through the catalog. The first 500 people to use my link into these longer videos, and thank you, the viewer, for being there for me, parasocially. I hope you are happy and loved in your life and have a very lovely day. Bye-bye.
Tim Pool,
Tim Pool. Man, just to be a fucking Majority Report co-host. All right, hey everybody, we had some stuff we were going to talk about. Dad's here, okay? Papa Sam is here. We're going to be talking about Tim Pool, okay? It's the Sam show, quite literally. It's the Majority Report with Sam Cedar, but also Emma Vigland. And then to some considerably lesser extent, Matt Pinder. Oh my God. This is an amazing idea. American animators get to the kitchen. Dude, if I could get the fucking I guess it's not even American. Well, I don't know. Is that Ubisoft? Captain Laserhawk? If I could get whoever worked on Captain Laserhawk, let me pitch this to you. How about Has Been Hotel Fuckos? Let me pitch this one to you. I'll do all the music. I'll bang the music out. Fucking gratis for just a chunk, an ownership chunk of this. Oh man. Make a tie-in gotcha game. Dude, there'd be a gotcha game, fucking actual fighting game, a fighting game with gotcha elements. Are you fucking serious? 200 characters is what I would want. A minimum of 200 characters for this fighting game. It would basically just be Mugen for Gooners. But yet I repeat myself. Dude, just fucking imagine. Just season after season of the same fighting game. Barely any updates and just new characters. Fuck the old character. I don't give a shit if it's a fan favorite or it's a meta. Just every time there's a meta, we just introduce another 10 characters. All of which are somebody's fat bait. That's all I want. Just like literally just a mix of Skullgirls, JoJo, and I don't know, fucking Fatal Fury for you furry fucks, okay? We're going to have fat-tittied snake women that have snake heads and fat-titty snake women with no snake heads. Lamias, okay? You're going to have your Lamias and your harpies for you weirdo monster fucking weirdo fucks. Money. Bling, 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 bling. Money printer goes. Bling, bling. The funniest part about it is the major controversies. I'm never going to put a fucking single lolly character anywhere near this shit. Okay? Every character is going to be canonically 21. 21. No, fuck that. Canonically 25. Christmas cakes only. Everybody's canonically 25 and no one looks like they have anything remotely close to a prepubescent body or even a pubescent body. Adult bodies only. Minimum height. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to cut the short stacks out, but like, you know, if you're a short stack, stacked, okay? Nothing remotely lolly-coated. Bloody Roar is the furry one. Yes. 1,000-year-old with the body of a preteen is Max Gooner. Absolutely nothing. Mugen for Gooners. Tyler's stuttering. Someone told Tyler he could cook, and instead of a spatula and ground beef, he picked up a hazmat suit and 50 kilos of cold medicine. It's me walking up to some professional game developer, right? It's the scene from Breaking Bad where he's like, you need the ones with the red phosphorus in them. Those ones aren't going to start. And you need to buy acetylene. The big bowls, the back with the green label. Except for it's me coming up and like, you need to make it into a gacha game. And you have to have a lot of waifus. If you can't draw the character on a Dakimura, then you don't put it in. Oh my God. By the way, good job, man carrying thing. Good video. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed your time on the Westside.